Hey there, welcome back to the shop. I've been spending some time redoing the shop, and today we're going to finish up one of the projects. I'm going to show you how to make a slab plywood door with the Festool TS-55 EQ saw and the OF1010 router. It's a simple project, but there's lots of cool techniques to learn, so let's go ahead and finish up this MFT3 cabinet. So as you can see here, I built a cabinet for my MFT3, and this will provide a super stable platform for me to work on, as well as serve as some nifty storage. So the doors are going to go over the face frame openings, and they're going to be 1/2 inch overlay doors. So I'll cut the pieces accordingly to that size. So here I have some pre-finished birch ply from my cabinet build. So we're going to turn these into the doors. The first step is cutting them parallel, and I'm going to do that at the table saw. So first I'm going to set my fence to the width, the final width for the slab doors. And in my case it's 538 millimeters. Just lock it down. You can also use parallel guides with your track saw or circular saw. But for me the table saw is the easiest way to do it. And then we'll just make two sides parallel and then we can cut them square. So now on this piece of plywood, I've got two sides parallel. So we're going to use the MFT3 to trim the adjacent edges square. And then I'll just flip it over and then cut it to finished size. The MFT3 set features an angle unit that can be swiveled to enable angled cuts on your workpiece. For the purposes of this project, we are only going to cut our pieces square. So here we have the MFT3 with the guide rail. This is an FS 1080 guide rail. And I have the miter gauge and fence here. And what this is going to allow me to do is cut this square. So I'll just slide my plywood piece right under here and lower the guide rail onto it and make sure this guide rail is secure. So now I'm just going to check and make sure that this guide rail support is set to the correct height. And lock it down. Here I've got the TS-55R. It's the newest track saw from Festool. This thing is awesome. And one of the cool features is it's got a new depth of cut indicator. And you'll see here it says FS. This tells me the depth of cut on the guide rail. So I will just slide this over to 20 millimeters, which is 2 millimeters more than the 18 millimeter thickness of my plywood. Now we're ready to cut. I'm just going to put on my personal protection here. Got respirator, eye protection, and hearing protection. So now I've got one edge square on both these pieces. I'll just measure off to my finished dimension and put a mark there. And I'll just lay the guide rail down on my mark. Once I see that pencil mark there, I know that my piece will be cut exactly to that point. Now that I have my piece down, I'm going to set the flip stop so I can just make a repeated cut on my next piece. And this is pretty handy if I'm cutting more than one piece, because it means I don't need to measure the next one, and all my pieces are going to be exactly the same length. Pretty cool, huh? There's almost no dust left behind, and this cut quality is incredible. So I've got two identically sized plywood slabs. It's time for me to apply the edge banding. And this, I've cut the edge banding from white oak, and this was made when I sawed the face frames of the cabinet. And we will just, since these are just shop cabinets, I'm just going to pin nail these. And I will show you how to use the LF1010 router to trim off these edges.